Hey everybody, how's it going? So in this series of showing you all the dead stores, I can't believe I never came back to see this one. So this used to be a Modell's Sporting Goods in Staten Island. I worked here when I was 16 years old for about a year and a half, and it was an interesting place to work. As you can see, it is now for lease, and there's nobody here. So this is my first, quote, real job, not like washing bikes or shoveling people's snow or whatever for, petty cash. And I remember there was one day, I did a video on this a while back. There was one day that I worked that I wasn't supposed to work. One day I was supposed to work that I wasn't supposed to work that I worked, and my leg was injured, and I came in anyway because they asked me as a favor, and I worked that day, and I left, I think, one thing out, like one thing on the wrong rack, and I got a write-up for it, and the guy laughs, and I was about to quit. And then the other manager that was here said, "You don't know how to run a store. You would never be able to run a store." Like, those were his exact words. Because I wanted to get a promotion. I wanted to move up in some way, shape, or form. And one of the things that I remember I used to do here is, I used to joke around with the employees and stuff, but I used to go around into the stockroom and under the gondolas, and I used to try to find barcodes for things. So they had this 1980s system. It was not a system that was easily searchable, like 1980s computer SKU system. And if there was any merchandise that wasn't selling because the SKUs got ripped off by the customers or it just kind of got messed up, even if I didn't put the right SKU on there, I would try to find some SKU that I could put on there so that at the very least the store could get some money and go out the door. And when I started doing this, the sales figures were actually started to go up, and I was making $6 an hour. So I was, hey, like, I'm not asking for something giant. Can I get 50 cents? Just something so that I could say I make more than minimum. And it was always a no. And I remember that one comment, you wouldn't know how to, you would never be able to run a store. So I am being incredibly petty in this moment, and one of the favors I'm just going to ask my subscribers right now is, can you allow me the freedom and the privilege of being hyper petty right now and just bragging that I have a store with 14 employees while they're out of business? I can't help it. This is my first job, and the way that I wound up quitting this place after like busting my ass for a year and a half, I finally found another job that paid $12 an hour, which again, in 2006, when you're 17 years old, so when you're 17, $12 an hour, minimum wage is $6. You're balling. I felt like I felt like I was just rolling in stacks of money when I got that job. So I put in my 2 weeks like you're supposed to when I worked here. And there was one of the last few days, one of the managers knew I'm leaving, so, well, I could just treat him like shit. And this place has a steel roof, a steel or aluminum roof, I forget which, but it's one of those roofs where if you don't have air conditioning, it's hot because it just absorbs the heat, and it's horrible. And one day the air conditioner died. So after the air conditioner died, we had polyester jerseys. So this store, it wasn't like a normal shirt you had to wear. You had to wear a polyester jersey, and that just keeps in the heat. So you have no air conditioning, polyester jersey, aluminum roof. It was horrible. So I said, listen, I'm going to keep the name tag on. I'm going to help the customers. I'm going to keep doing my job. I took the polyester jersey off, and I was walking up to every customer. Hey, how can I help you? Hey, what can I do for you? How can I help you? He said, you have to put the jersey on. You have to put the jersey on. And I said, it's kind of hot. Do you mind if I just keep the name tag on, keep helping customers without the jersey? He just looks at me and says, pussy. It's like, fuck you. I just took the jersey off, said fuck you, and then left. And the next day I was supposed to show up for a truck day. A truck day is the day that you take all the stuff off of the truck and you bring it into the store. It's one of the hardest jobs in the store is unload the truck, scan all the merchandise and put it on the shelves. And I didn't show up. It's like, fuck you. I tried to be nice. I tried to leave on good terms, and it ended like that. So some of the people that I was working with were really cool people. If Jason is out there, if Tommy is out there, if Christine are out there, who else? I forget. I'm sorry, I forget the rest of the names. This is my first real job, and some of the people that I worked with were really cool, but the management sucked and everybody hated them. And I'm just never gonna forget that one comment. You don't know how to run a store. You'd never know how to run a store. And I have 14 employees in a store that's bigger than this, and you're out of business. So fuck you. I can't help it. I'm being incredibly petty. I realize I'm being incredibly petty right now, but I couldn't help it. So I came here to explore my old neighborhood that I grew up in. Since I'm just like looking at taking another road trip and leaving. And I just wanted to check out the neighborhood I grew up in. I rang a couple of the doorbells. Unfortunately, most of the doorbells that I rang, I got the kids because the parents had died. There's this one guy that always let us play under this tree right by his house. So when the other neighbors would say, no, get off my whatever, he would always, invite us over. So I just wanted to say thank you, but he died. He would have actually been like over 100 by now, so that's kind of expected. There was this one kid that I used to get along with that I stopped getting along with, but I kind of felt bad about it, and I just went over, rang the bell, and tried to see what they were up to. That was a good conversation. And just kind of walked around my old neighborhood a little bit. And I just had to see what the shopping center looked like because this was my first real job, quote, real job. And it's just, okay, not only is it for lease, but they're also totally bullshitting. Look at this. This is smaller than my fucking store right now. I have a 2,200 square foot store. This place is smaller, and they're calling it 6,000 square feet. Like, get the fuck out of here. But I just couldn't help myself when I saw that that the store was out of business. I just could not help myself. Like, not only could you, it's one thing to say I can't run a store, whatever, clearly screw you. But it's one thing to go out of business, but it's another to go out of business when you were paying people $6 an hour. Like, if you couldn't afford to stay in business when you were paying your employees $6 an hour, you suck. I mean, it's one, again, if you go out of business and you're paying people 18, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, fine, I get it. It was hard to make ends meet. But you're in Staten Island paying $6 an hour and you still, oh man, man, you guys suck. All right, I'm gonna stop being petty now. I appreciate you giving me this 6.5 minutes to be incredibly petty. I promise I will try to limit me being petty into the future. But yeah, of all the dead stores, of all the dead real estate in New York City, this is the one that just makes me honestly the happiest, because it's kind of like karma. Anyway, see y'all later.